So that used to be an IGA, and in this little neighborhood is where my mom's older sister lived, and some of my older cousins, when I was growing up, is where I'd live a lot, because my mom, being a single mom, she'd just leave me with my, because my mom would go to work at the mall. She would work like the makeup counter at Elder Bierman's and in Richmond, and so down this street is the little house, and ironically this driveway is the first time I really studied a Corvette, because when my stepdad came over to visit one time, I remember laying on the ground. I have a really vivid memory of my childhood because I was always in different places, and I remember laying on the ground behind the car in the driveway and looking at how wide the back tires were and just studying it. I was probably only like 3 years old, if that. But this little blue house right here, and see, I wouldn't have thought it was that house. I would have thought it was this house, because it used to be this color, but she said it was this address, so who knows. But for some reason I still think it might be that one. But anyhow, I remember the neighbor lady that lived over here, they had kids. There was a bunch of kids all through here. I was the youngest. The neighbor lady over here, she was always wearing, not always, but she wouldn't always be fully dressed. She'd be wearing like her bra and underwear. She was kind of hot. So I'd go over there and hang out. The kids would always yell, "Mom, put on some clothes, Brandon's here." And she's like, "No, Brandon's fine." And she'd smile at me. So, and I was like 3 years old. Everybody thought I was a cute kid. I remember cutting through this yard when we were in a water fight, and going home and tattling to my family that they sprayed me or something like that. And then their mom came out and said, "Well, he cut through the yard." So they like caught me in like a half truth or whatever. He cut through our yard on his bike. And, he wasn't just driving down the road, because I went inside crying, "Oh, they sprayed me. I didn't do anything to deserve this." But anyway, learned how to, ride bicycles around here. I remember these curbs. These curbs were fun because you could kind of like jump up the curb with the bikes. And if you hit them at the right diagonal, and there were certain curbs that were better than others for jumping. And, but anyhow, I'll show you the road. I've been uploading some videos. You can see that a lot of the roads that are in the videos that have been uploaded, you can't even hardly fit one car down the road, 2 cars down the road for sure. You can't even fit 2 cars side by side. You got to put your wheels in the grass to pass each other. So to drive fast on those kind of roads where there's not enough room for 2 cars to pass each other, you either got to be out of your mind, or you got to develop some skills on what it's going to take to find an out when you come around a blind curve and there's a car there, there's a tractor there. Can you stop in time? So the roads are real windy, like Dr. Seuss roads, and so you're having to calculate by the millisecond, because each millisecond is different. It's never, "Oh, I can go fast now," and it's a sustained decision. It's always accelerate, brake, accelerate, brake. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take you on a ride on this road that I used to go down back and forth between that house and my grandfather's first house. And so my grandma used to drive me back and forth. I spent a lot of time with my grandma too. She was separated from my grandpa, so she had her own house. And she had like a Buick. We used to drive down this road, like a Lincoln Buick car. I don't remember what it was exactly, but everybody in our family sped. live life backwards, because you can drive fast on the back roads, but you can't drive fast on the main roads like this, because this is the ones where there's cops. So you see, you'd call this a back road, but I call this a main road back in the day. This right here is where we get air. See, I was very aware of my surroundings at a young age, because my grandpa always wanted me to be, and so I paid good attention to everything. And so we used to go one of two ways. We'd either go right and then back to the left, or we'd go over here. So I know that way over there, so I'm going to go this way instead. The roads that we call like the country roads, which aren't these are like main roads, but the roads that we call country roads, I'm faster on them in a Jeep Cherokee than I am a Corvette, because they're just so narrow and so, like, you gotta take it easy in the Corvette, but the off-road tires, you can actually feel the turn better. I was going around some of these roads that I used to do in the Jeep Cherokee all the time, and I'm not going half as, like, I'm going about 3/4 as fast as what I used to do them in the Jeep Cherokee, I'll put it that way. I don't feel comfortable going faster in this, because these tires will skate off the road because of the vibrations and the gravel and everything, whereas the Jeep, you can lay it out sideways and you had good control. You know what I'm saying? Right, she used to come this way, coming the other way, but going the other way, we'd go out the other way, because this up here is a dangerous intersection. She didn't like taking this left. This left that we're about to have to take, she didn't like to take it. So we'd come this way when we were going, when she could just take a right onto this road. But right here, she hated this intersection. For that reason right there. See, you can't see. road since I was 5 years old. I remember vividly when the space shuttle blew up and I was only 3 years old. I remember watching it over and over on TV. I used to watch Dukes of Hazzard and Knight Rider and Cannonball Run. Here, it's real simple. If you wreck, you're a fuck up, you know? You get lectured by everybody. And if you don't wreck, well, then you're one of the elites who doesn't wreck. And I never wrecked. We used to fly. We were driving around before we had driver's license, and then back over here after high school to my grandfather's ranch, which is south of here. A safe road compared to what I'm talking about. There's roads that are so narrow that you can't pass each other without going in the grass. And the grass isn't always flat. It's like a ditch that'll eat your car alive, so spin your car if you put your wheel in the ditch. Much of a blind turn road, you can see everything fine. See, if I wasn't worried about bending wheels, I'd go faster, but leaves and gravel, and you're having to examine everything. Animals, you're having to watch it all. And you always got to pretend that there's a combine coming around the turn with those big spikes sticking out at you, or a kid on a quad, or whatever it is. Yes. I just went the wrong way. That's a better example there. That road that I was about to go down is the even though this is still wide right here. It's like a parkway. So up here in the next town is probably one of the first places where I had was like evading the police, because we used to bale hay for the dispatcher secretary lady. Her name is Linda Charles, and her farm was over here, which is a good 10 miles away from my grandfather's. And I used to drive the tractors, because you can drive a tractor without a driver's license when you're young. You just put a slow-moving vehicle sign on the back of the tractor. Well, this railroad track right here, if you remember that movie Lean on Me, or whatever it was, where the kids got stuck on the railroad track with the train coming, this is a really important spot, because the trains are trying to get a running start to get up a really big hill. It's called Brownsville Hill. Well, because we're in Brownsville. Well, I came over on a four-wheeler one time. Oh, and by the way, my grandfather used to have tractors like these, painted, these little Fords and the John Deeres. He had the John Deere A, B, G. But anyway, little 8N Fords and 860 Fords. So the policeman would see if I drove the four-wheeler over here, because I'd want to come over to get back across to get back to the tractor or something, and I'd drive the four-wheeler. Well, you got to have a driver's license to have the four-wheeler on the road, or else you can get in trouble. You're not supposed to have four-wheelers on the road. Back then they were real picky about it. Now they've got the ATV, or whatever they're called, sport utility vehicle things. But anyway, we're gonna run out of gas, so I gotta chill out my engine here for a second, because we got a ways to go to get to a gas station. But anyway, what was I gonna tell you? So here's that railroad again. Well, that railroad goes across a big river. Not a big river, but it's a really high drop. Like, you'd die if you fell off. So I was driving the four-wheeler in the train tracks, and the train came. And I had to put the four-wheeler in reverse. And I got back across the other side, and I'd been racing the train backwards as the train was coming at me at like full speed. Granted, there was a distance, but then when I got back across to the to land again, I went to back off the track, and I couldn't get the four-wheeler out, and I got this four-wheeler stuck. Well, the train didn't want to slow down. They wanted to ram the four-wheeler, so they were all out in the front of the locomotive, basically telling me, like, waving me off, like, get off the four-wheeler, get off the four-wheeler. And I didn't do it. I stood my ground, because I knew I'd just jump off the last second, because I didn't want them to destroy the four-wheeler, because my grandpa would kill me. So they locked the train up, and literally stopped within like 10 feet of the four-wheeler. And again, I would have jumped off if it would have gotten to me, but they were so mad. They threw that four-wheeler off the track. They were so fucking pissed. And then hindsight, I found out later it's because they had a big giant hill to climb, and they got to back up to be able to make it up the hill. Anyway, we used to come over here with loaded hay wagons. And most of the hay actually Linda kept, but sometimes we'd have to bring Linda hay. That's what it was. I think she didn't have enough hay. So this field over here, I used to bale this field over here. They built 2 new houses back there. I wonder if that's her son's. She had some sons. So that was Linda's house there. Linda passed away from cancer a while ago. Okay, we gotta get some gasoline. Let's see here on the map just which gas station's closest. We're in the middle of nowhere. Gas. Fuel. All stations. Yeah, we're far from gas. Okay. Pulling over one lateral G's back in the day in pickup trucks, Jeep Cherokees. I've been very well aware, like, that's why when people can't even do it on a Corvette on flat ground, it's just like they think they're going to tell us how to drive. It's just crazy how bad people are at so many things. They go across that river, the train track raises up, starts going up a really steep hill as far as trains are concerned. So they have to carry their momentum down the hill across that train track, so they're flying. And it's a big train. And I guess I shouldn't say they're flying, but they're going really fast for how long the train is. Because they just took off not long ago. Too overgrown, you can't see the bridge. If you fell off, you wouldn't live.